Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was invited for the G7 summit this year too, urged the international community to work towards peace in the backdrop of the protracted Russia-Ukraine war. And while on one side Modi urged countries to invest in India's endeavours towards a green environment, he also underlined the urgent global need to focus on the energy needs of all. He said that all should come together to make everybody feel equal to one another.
The top leaders of G7 and the so-called outreach countries, including India, Indonesia and South Africa, gathered in Germany for this year's G7 summit. While a host of issues were on the table to be discussed, the Russia-Ukraine war remained the prime subject of the discussion during the summit. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was part of the multilateral discussions and who also held several bilateral meetings, reiterated India's position of cessation of all forms of violence and restoration of peace in all parts of the world. India also highlighted the major significant challenges, including the carbon-free world, vaccine inequity, and how each country deserved to be treated equal with another. Prime Minister's statement came especially in the backdrop of discrimination that poor countries faced during the pandemic. While addressing the Indian diaspora, Prime Minister urged other countries to invest in India-led green programs. He also flaunted India's achievements in the sector that it has managed to achieve way before the set deadline.
आज हम इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस के जरिए दुनिया भर के देशों को एक मंच पर ला रहे हैं ताकि सस्ती और एनवायरमेंट फ्रेंडली एनर्जी का लाभ दुनिया को दे सके। वन सन, वन वर्ल्ड, वन ग्रिड, ये सपना हमने दुनिया के सामने रखा। भारत ने 2016 में तय किया था कि 2030 तक हमारी कुल बिजली उत्पादन क्षमता का 40% नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल से होगा। अभी 2030 से हम 8 साल दूर हैं, लेकिन भारत ये लक्ष्य हासिल कर चुका है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has raised India's nationally determined contribution target of non-fossil energy capacity to 500 gigawatts by 2030 from a little over 151 gigawatt currently. India plans to manufacture 5 million tons of green hydrogen per year by 2030 to meet its climate targets and become a global production and export hub for the fuel. Modi also underscored the challenges that both India and the world faced in the face of the growing radicalization world over. India also discussed trade and economy with major partners it has had over the years. Modi also highlighted the issue of terrorism at bilateral levels and how two countries could come together to forge an alliance against this menace.
With the Prime Minister of Canada, the areas which I mentioned to you covered essentially trade and investment linkages, security and counter-terrorism cooperation, and promotion of people-to-people ties. I think Prime Minister made it very clear to the Prime Minister of Canada, but also to other leaders, that one of the major global challenges that all of us face is the challenge of terrorism. And that is something on which India has consistently adopted and advocated zero tolerance.
While taking a jibe at media critics during the summit, Modi apprised the world that India had fared much better than what was being expected of it during the pandemic. 90% of elderly in India are completely vaccinated and 95% of other eligible have received at least one dose of vaccination. So India summed up its story at the summit with its assertive position on key issues of the world and also reiterated to the major players that it does not support any form of hostility in the world. And India is ready to take the lead when it comes to going green or working for the sustainable development on the planet.